guys, it's me, Ruowen Huang. You know, as I say, we can talk about death forever, but seriously, I don't want it to become my, one and only topic, even though I do see a lot of dead people, but I don't want to spend the rest of my life talking about that. So really, guys, any question, throw it out. I want to wrap it up by tomorrow, not just a little bit every day, all about dead people. So today, in regards surrounding around death, that's I want to spend some time explaining about life too. So maybe it would make sense to you guys. So not just keep asking me about death. I'm gonna answer. Eventually, here and there, you will understand it, right? But if you have any question, throw it out. I want to wrap it up this week. I'm spending surrounded by the topic of death every day. So why am I wearing black? As I mentioned before, I have funeral to attend today. But you know what I realized? Today, standing in front of the mirror, I look at myself all black, and I'm thinking, since when people start wearing all black in funeral? Why? Just because we were sad, we had to wear black. You know what I mean? So I told my husband, if it's my funeral, make sure no one wear black, because I don't like black. As you guys must know, I hardly ever wear black clothes, right? I love color. I like life is full of colors. They are all colors of people. I like colors, right? So I say, I think about either wear white. People ever want to attend my funeral, which I don't know when, either wear all white or wear all color. I like color. But anyway, putting aside, let's talk about death again. But before we talk about death, let's talk about life. I start to realize in order to understand death, I guess people have to understand life first. When throughout the time, I guess people never got introduced what really happened. So that's why we have a lot of anticipation or suspicion or imagination around the things we don't know, right? So I don't know if it's common in North America, but it was very common in Taiwan. People have miscarriage. There may be 1 month or 2 months, and then they feel they kill the baby, or they feel something they do, like to kill a life, and then they feel sorry. They hold on to that guilt, and then even they go to various psychic. The psychic will say, yes, you have a baby who carry on, we attach to you, and things like that. Here, I want to introduce that by start from there, okay? Just for your information, there's no soul can be living in your body until you are at least 3 months pregnant. 3 months pregnant. That means if by any chance you lose your baby before 3 months, the chances that that baby that you lose doesn't have a soul attached to it yet, right? That doesn't mean there's no soul hanging around you wanted to be your child. It may be a scenario like you happen to be a perfect set of parent for a child, right? So the chances they will hang around with you for whatever time to make sure they are born. But the chances they usually know when will they get delivered, right? So they will know why there is miscarriage this time or then. So it just, they know the perfect timing. We don't. We just want to have it because we want to have it. But it may or may not be the perfect timing for them, right? So usually that's some tests that we had to work with in too. But just for your information, the baby in your stomach usually don't have a soul in it yet. They are somewhere. They might be somewhere around, but not in there. So what I try to say is that doesn't really have not a life yet, right? The reason of that, there's a reason why 3 months, right? Because only when the baby was developed to the 3 months of time, then they have a basic shape and form that is able to synchronize with a soul. Now I'm going to tell you why. In order to create this body, one soul is not gonna work. You have to have three elements that activate at the same time in order to make this body a functional body. So one, you have to have a soul that is the one who will later on guide you through your life, difficult life, or a spirit that is inside this body, and then they will later on guide you like a spirit guide and all that, right? The second is your consciousness that is generated, by your environment, by whatever you sense and feel and things like that. That consciousness also means your brain had to somehow form to a level that is start able to create or receive that information. The third is the heart. Your heart had to be able to feel. So in order for a soul to come in and start synchronize with this body, you need to have three elements: body, and you need to have mind, you need to have heart, right? So that's why I'm telling you, when they start coming in, about 3 months. It's always almost around 3 months, no matter how, well, I've seen a lot of pregnant people, trust me, I test it on myself too. So that's always around that time. So once they were born inside, right, what they do is they don't stay there all the time. You might think the baby is there all the time, but really they are like a soul, try to get used to this body, try to experience how it's development, right? A lot of time, they kind of go in and out. The spirit kind of go in and out, I know it's kind of freaky for you guys, but it's kind of have some kind of attachment, but which allow them to go around radiation in and out to explore their environment, to check. Sometimes they might even give the parent the comfort of love or sensation like that, right? So that's why sometimes you will see the pregnant woman look prettier, because they are actually experience that kind of emotion that is for two, right? So once a spirit come in, what they do is they actually have to get used to their body. They slowly synchronize, It's like a vocal. You slowly have your soul reach to your fingertip. You're feeling attachment, like slowly sink into this body, get used to this body, and get familiar with this body, right? So that's why you will see a lot of newborn kids. Newborn kids will start looking at their hand for a long time and try to move it. It's almost like just imagining a movie, like a robot giving it a life. What does a robot do? Is this my hand? How does it work? You know what I mean? Or the tongue, or they bite themselves sometimes. They, slowly they develop through vocal. So what they did is they do their vocal, they cry, and then they have no word, right? It's discomfort for kids. For baby, especially newborn, it's just discomfort because they don't know how to wear this clothes yet. They don't know how to wear this body yet. So there would be a lot of discomfort. They also lack of vocal language to speak to, because everything is new to them. They don't know how to use this tongue yet. They don't know how to use this teeth yet. But eventually, as they develop, they will start to use their hand, crawl themselves, learn their body, and all that. So usually this whole process of the full attachment will happen around 5-year-old, really. So that's why, that's also when the test of life, the test of like a platform, test of like a form. Okay. Whew. So if I explain it well, good enough, I hope I explained it good enough. Now we have to come back and then talk about death. So when death is the same thing, that means this body is done whatever you need to do. You have to go, right? And then the soul will have to detach from this body. So just picture how it's like. It's almost like you peeling things from the Velcro. So you're peeling it up. You try to peel out that spirit, detach everything from this body, right? So that's why when the body doesn't have a soul in there, right, it would just go out. But then again, remember I talked about birth. There are three things. They are conscious, they are your heart, and then they are your soul. Once your soul is detached from it, that means this body automatically will look like a puppet without a string. You know what I mean? Because no one is controlling it, right? So that is basically what death is. So sure enough, sometimes you will notice when the people, before they die, they're dealing with pain, right? They're dealing with pain. Sometimes when the pain is too unbearable, we pass out. That's almost the same thing as the way, it's a way actually the soul protect themselves, because what they do is they detach themselves. It's too much pain, and then all of a sudden the sensation, the soul that reach to this finger, feel that, right? It's too painful, so I pull that out because I don't want to feel that. So you will realize sometimes when people are dealing with so much pain, in a shock or things like that, that pass out. Basically what it is their soul detached from their body, and they're not feeling this body anymore because they cannot feel it, or they don't want to feel it. It's a self-protection things, right? So that's base. But if you are living, you're still living thing. Is the pain is not really that threatening. What happened is, even though after you pass out, you will slowly come back when pain is more bearable. You know what I mean? So a lot of time people are asking me when they die, do they suffer pain, right? If you can imagine that pain is unbearable, the chances they check out. What they do is they just pull themselves out at that moment when the pain is way too unbearable, because that just not just them, it's just every soul do. That's how we do to protect ourselves. Okay, so if I can kind of explain this in a kind of technical way for you guys to understand, right? You understand the that is basically a soul checking out of this body. This body is done what it's supposed to do, what it's supposed to learn. It's about time, and then I check out, right? So if I can explain this, now I'm going to answer some question that people ask regarding to that. I believe it's a more Asian tradition, which is very common knowledge of, that what we were told when we were kids, right? Is they always tell you once some people die, they always tell you each person have 3 souls. That's what they explained it when we were young. Each person have 3 souls, and then so they will tell you when someone die, one soul will go to do reincarnation, and one soul will stay where the death moment happened and slowly disappear through time. And then one soul will come home with the family, where we usually pray. We usually have this a little, things at home that we pray to, our ancestor all the time, right? So I believe this is more Chinese way of doing things. The way we pray to our ancestor, we always have a little, I don't know how to play. We have a little plate at home that we pray to them in regular basis. So this person just want to ask me, is this true? Okay. Based on what I just explaining to you, what I would say is a soul have a nature of evolution. That means it's soul, right? This soul. That means when I die, I would find a way to evolve myself, right? Even though I might, go through hell to reevaluate myself, or, go through whatever, but I will find a way to evolve myself. That's just in nature, right? So usually, if you ask me, the soul itself will move on, right? They don't hang around. The things that you think or you see ghosts, usually, as I say, they are ghosts as projected by human thought, that do have a form, shape, and sometimes talk like ghosts. That is not really a soul, but could be labeled as projected ghost. That's a totally different category. But as a normal scenario, a soul in a body will move on, right? They will find a way to move on. They don't linger on. So to answer that specific question, what is left? What is left in the event that happened? That might be car accidents, that might be, anything like murder, or it may be or natural death or whatever, right? It's usually what is called conscious. That means a logic that is created during this life. The logic, opinion, and whatever that's created in this life is usually get dropped right there. You know what I mean? it will eventually disappear through time, because eventually that logic and things like no longer fit into the society, or people forget about it and then you move on. So that will eventually go disappear, right? And then what people bring home and pray in their house, an ancestor place, usually is what the other element called heart. Heart is basically their emotion, feeling, and all that. We project it on that play. The moment we share together is something as those cremation things, right? What it is, when we look at it, we have emotion and feeling. How the time that we share with that specific person who passed away and all that, right? It's that feeling which is referred as a heart. But in regard of your question, if you ask about soul is most likely move on and, move on to whatever they have to do. So I hope that answered that question. The next question is, I also believe, no, people do it here sometimes too. A lot of time we go back to our ancestors' tomb, right? Like we pray there and things like that. The person just want to ask, is it like some kind of blessing too? But if they already reincarnate, or their soul is no longer in spirit form, like would they receive that? Well, I hope eventually I can really get you guys to understand how powerful and strong human thought really is. Like our thought have very strong power, right? It's just being used very randomly. But what I really want you to know is, even you go to your tomb, you're really thinking about them, you're giving them more blessing. Even when their soul move on, their spirit guide, which is their greater self, is like a satellite, right? They can always receive information that or blessing that's targeted to them, that also including cursing and all that to understand. So they have this kind of radar that's able to receive all things that regard to them, no matter what identity they are, or who they were, or what they were born to be again, right? Whether you know them or you don't know them. So when you are depositing a thought, like, I wish you well, I wish you live well on the other side, or you think about your passed away grandparent and things like that, you throw in them blessing, tons of blessing, right? What happened is that blessing will still be used by whoever, wherever they are. You know what I mean? Because their greater self, which is their spirit guide, will still receive that blessing, right? So it may somewhat make their life a little smoother. It might give them some strength as an actual person to move on to their life, right? So those are the thing is, if you ever go back to your ancestor tomb and things like that, and then think of them, right? Instead of feeling sad, as I say it so many times, instead of feeling sad, sorry, I lose you. Really, the best way you can do for anybody is give them blessing. I wish all the best for you. So that's why, you will hear me saying over and over so many times, blessing really is an actual energy that exists and actually can benefit anybody, right? As a soul, in soul level. So I hope that can explain that. Also, the other question is, in Chinese, we believe where you bury your ancestor can influence the luck of your descendant. Is that descendant? Right? Like children and all that. In regard to that question, that had a lot to do with power of thought. You know what I mean? That's usually that energy is really influenced by the power of thought, human thought, because I start thinking it's a bad place, it's a bad place, it's a bad place, it's a bad place. Where does he gonna go? The chances it's like playing squash, right? Basically, just imagine that as a squash game. The more you throw it, the harder you throw it, it's gonna bounce back at you some way, somehow, right? Someone will have to digest that thought, because that's exactly how real and actual human thoughts are, right? So in regard to that question, I would not say I would say it's not where you bury your ancestor would make any difference, but it's more what the thought you throw into that would make a difference. Anyway, I really hope I can kind of wrap this up this week. I want to talk about something else, but so if you guys have any more questions, I mean, as I say, I always welcome you guys to leave it on my website or on my Facebook. So I think hopefully we will eventually talk more other thing, and then it would become very easy to understand for you guys. So again, if you like what I'm doing, join me live on Periscope, or go to my Facebook, or go to subscribe my YouTube channel or my website ruowen.com. Till then, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.